All right, welcome back. We are Game 2004. That's Game Engines 2 in the winter 2026 semester at Georgian, and it's week 2, part 2 of our broadcast. And the last one, we talked about our assignment 1 details, so please look at that one if you're missing that one. This one won't talk about assignment 1. This one, we're going to be talking about what we're doing today, which is exterior level design. But before we start, I want to show you our stuff from last week. We talked about some homework. I gave you guys some homework. I'm going to go around and I want to see some of that, but I'm going to show you what I did just to talk about a couple things that you could have done a little differently. I promised you that I would, and here it is. So let's do that. I'm going to go into my week 1. By the way, anyone not get the temple done from last week, download my version, please. It's on week 1 on our Games 2004. Please start from something as opposed to starting from nothing. All right, so that way you have the temple ready to go, right? It gives you an example, so you can start from there. So I'm going to go into the project. This is from last week. And then what we'll do is after I talk about the project, I will duplicate this project and make week 2, where I will also post that up on, I'll post it up on DevOps for you guys to look at. Anything we do together, I'll post on DevOps so that you have a chance to take a look at it and inspect what I did, criticize, and say that it's terrible. Tom, I think it's terrible what you did. I don't mind. That's okay. Tell me, right? But I want to talk about some stuff, my process. I want to talk about my process. And then that way we can have a conversation around it and see what you think. So I also have a blend file. Hopefully it'll work. I did it in Blender 5, right? So if it doesn't work, I'll open up my machine at home. Let's see what happens. What? Blender 4.2 was removed again? What is wrong with these people? What? Look, I can't believe it. All right, we're going to make sure that it's all golden in a second. That's what we're going to do, because we're going to use Apps Anywhere to install Blender. Actually, one thing that you can do is you could always use, even on these school machines, you can always use Microsoft Store, if I'm not wrong. And if something exists here on the Microsoft Store, if I'm not wrong, then if I said something like Blender, there it is. And if I search for Blender, I believe Blender does exist on the Microsoft Store. There's 4.5. So even if it's not installable on your machine, you can still download anything on the Microsoft Store. For the most part, is downloadable and installable on your machine, if I'm not wrong. But we'll come back to that. Let's go and use Apps Anywhere, because that's the right thing to do. I say that with great trepidation. Right, let's see if it actually, 4.2, come on, man. 4.2 isn't going to launch my, my Blender model. Let's see what happens. It may not. No, I want 2.7. All right. And let's see if I can open that up now. It may work. It may not. It may not. That's okay. So, yeah, let's see if I can. It's just done with a better version, right? So it's like a better version. I don't even think anything else. I'm just going to launch it from home. So I'll show you to at home first. What the hell am I using? There we go. Edge should die. Okay. Yes. I know Microsoft hates when I say those kind of things. They send me personal notes saying, don't say those things, Tom. But I can't help it. I know, right? I can't help it. It's bad. It's really bad, guys. And there it is. All right, so this is Blender on my machine at home. So we have to, be reduced to Blender. So there's my model. All right. So I did a couple things to note that I want to talk about, positive and negative about it. And again, please forgive me because I'm remote. So there's going to be a little bit of lag. So I did a couple things. I made some decisions, is what I'm saying, right? I could have modeled all the bricks like as an example. So like right now, it is one big model, right? If I was to go into edit mode, you can see that some of it turns on, some of it turns off. I could also split it, right? So so that's something I can do. My version of Blender, I like to use you know, this a lot, which is like, you know, basically remove parent, I think is what it is. Remove parent. Parent. What is it? Parent. Unparent. Parent empty. Clear parent. Here it is. So, yeah, that's not it. I think it's split. Alt P. Yeah, there it is. Clear and keep transforms. I want to do split. No, control. What is it again? What's split? It's I forget the key sequence. Anyways, see how long it's been? That's what happens with Blender. All right, you forget. Anyways, each of these things, each of these columns is a column, and what I've done is I've named all the piece parts. So each one of these things are called drums. That's what the original Greeks used to call them way back in the day, the originals, right? And every piece in here is something that I've used. So what I've done is I've kind of modeled everything here in Blender after I had it in Unreal Engine, right? So that's what I did. I had it in Unreal Engine first. I brought it into Blender. I had the proper proportions and size. And from there, I brought it right back into Unreal Engine from there. How you doing, guys? Right? So that's something that I did. I used references, and part of those references that I used was a couple things. I used movies. That really helped out a lot, especially movies of Sunyo. Sometimes I would pause the movie and look at it because some visitors, when they went to Sunyo, actually took really good pictures of the front, the side, the back. I had drone shots that are going over the model itself, so I actually saw things like, you know, a top-down version of it and everything else. And I tried to keep everything in proportion. I had numbers that I used, so it's very mathematical about how I put things together in terms of column spacing. I also used, when I did all the drums are differently sized, and I also rotated the drums as well, so that way there's slight variation from one column to the other, right? So it's not exactly the same, okay? So that's what I wanted to do, and I did this all because I was like, hey, this is how it should be. One reason is that I kind of combined it is because when you bring a model in from Blender to Unreal Engine, like this, and if you don't put it together, it goes blah, and it just spits everything out into like thousands of pieces, right? And you don't want that to happen. There's two ways to export a model from Blender into Unreal Engine. You could use an FBX, don't recommend, or you can use a GLB, which is far better, right? GLB includes materials, and it includes all kinds of other stuff, and it goes both ways, from Unreal Engine to Blender, and from Blender back to Unreal Engine as a GLB file, right? It's far better, has more information, and it keeps everything from UV maps to a bunch of other stuff, okay? So that's one thing I've done. So if I was to go, let's just look at it in edit mode anyway, to show you what I've done. So let's do one of these. So again, so each one of these things, if you think about this, even when I did the echinus, that's the echinus right here. So there's each of these things have a name. The abacus is the thing on the top. Then there's the echinus. Then there's the necking. Then there's the drums, right? And then at the bottom, you have your stylobate at the bottom. That's what these are, right? And then you have the archivus at the top, this part right here. So all of them have a name. And what I've done is, if you actually look at my project in a second, when I exported it back into Unreal Engine, I gave the user an opportunity to use these things. I'm just going to exit my full screen, and I'll leave that model up. Maybe we'll go back to it in a second. But for now, what I want to do is I want to see what it looks like in Unreal Engine. So what I wanted was to give a user a kit, right? You guys a kit to use to build the temple, and that's what I've done here. So I've got each of the pieces here, and this is on Unreal Engine now, exported, so you can use each individual drum to build up your columns. And there's two types of columns. There's a column that looks like this, as well as a pier. That's what this is, where the column is a square-like column, like a block column. And that's what I've kind of created here using these piece parts, right? That's what this is. So you could drag and drop columns in here to create your model from here if you wanted to or not. Positives and negatives about the experience about doing this. Time frame. Let's talk about time frame for me. It took me 3 hours to put together, right? On and off. I knew what I wanted. I've done this before. It's not the first time that I've done a model of Sunyo, right? It's one of my favorite places to be, right? So I've done it before. I've drawn this model. I've done color paintings of this thing. Throughout my life, I've done it. So I know this model very well. So I knew exactly what it was supposed to be, right? So it really did help me with concepting, all right? That's the positive thing about it. There are some things that I don't like that I think if I iterated a little bit more, it might be easier for me to do, okay? Like, for example, I really don't like the way the UV map turned out for these blocks when I combined everything. I don't like it, right? And also, I don't like some of the tiling that happened here, which you can clearly see in the corners of the column. I don't like that. I think in a future iteration, I might use more materials, because remember, every model has the abilities for you to use multiple material slots, right? And here I've only used one material slot, and I think you can use multiple material slots to make it so each column can be unique. So I could have done that, right? So I could add a second material slot to make it look dirty or whatever, with layers and that kind of stuff. And I didn't do that because I ran out of time. I gave myself a time budget, which I think you guys should do as well. Don't spend unlimited time on this stuff because you've got other things to do, okay? Thoughts about this? Let me run this thing to show you that it works. And I also got to talk about some other things too. So here's my guy, or my girl. She's running. She can go up the model. She can go through the model, so it's not blocking or whatever. And we're going to see later on when we actually use this model to with the landscape why I use this area there that's open, right? Because my thoughts are, from a design perspective, I want the landscape to poke out of it. That's why I use this open area, right? So I planned it ahead of time, so when I sink it into the landscape, then the landscape's going to come through the model, right? And I've given it spaces for it to do so. Because if you notice the original document, the original references I use, there's like patches of moss and grass and stuff and bricks and a bunch of other stuff that we've done. And I want to kind of add some of those things back in, okay? So thoughts around this? Positive and negative. Positive and negative things. So again, I've given you this to take a look at. Again, each thing is named. And when you make something for yourself, when you make your own pieces, make a level like this for yourself, right? This level, I'm not going to use this level. This level is literally just for me displaying my model and do I like it? You know, can I improve upon it? Can I add more things to it or whatever? That's all this level is for. You don't have a level quota, guys. You can make as many levels as you need to when you submit your assignment, okay? All right, so hopefully you guys are able to do the same thing with your own models. Maybe your models look better, maybe you're happier with them, and if you are, fantastic. I love it, right? What I want to do is I want to take a short pause for a second in my video right now, and I want to go around and see what you guys have done. All right, so please show me the stuff you've got it. If you've got a model, I want to see it. All right, so bring it up, please. I'll stop.